Regular council meeting, it is Tuesday, February 18th.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The top here. Roll call, please.
Mayor Laughlin.
Here.
Councilperson Sexton.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Dean.
Here.
Goodweiler.
Here.
Stolman.
Here. Okay, we have no guest speakers. Public comment. If anyone here want
Yes,
to
could I?
speak on behalf of themselves, Mary, go ahead.
Yes.
Come to the podium, please.
Yes, I understand. I know how to conduct myself in an orderly manner. And I'm going to bring these up here and pretend I'm reading something off of a piece of paper. Many of you know me in here. I'll make it short and sweet. You know that I've stood up against some things that are pretty serious and pretty violent. And because of the fact that I have been bullied. I've addressed the issues with a lot of people. I've addressed it with my landlord. And I'm not going to apologize for this, but I do understand my whole community, just about everybody, is standing behind me in things that have happened. I'm going to give you an example right now of what it's like when a person opens their mouth. It's called cyberbullying. I'm not going to take your time except to show you exactly what happens. I'm going to address the issue. I know some of you people. I don't know if you're in here or not, but this is what happened yesterday. After contacting dispatcher, writing written statements in regards to the incidents that have occurred, not just in my apartment, but everywhere now. While I was waiting for an officer to respond, I decided to vacuum because I had a meeting in the afternoon. When I went towards the door, I do this because I did teach school and I am a professional and I've had enough. When I went towards the door, this happened. A lot of people laugh about that. They think it's real funny. No, it isn't. It's called electrical current that went completely through my head and my entire body. With the help of our law enforcement, our chief of police, and a lot of other organizations, and you need to be aware of this, and thank you, Mike, and some of you right here, I'm hoping that after I make this statement tonight, and have made you aware, that no one has the right to harm another person. I want to be able to feel safe enough to walk out this door and over to my apartment, free of being hassled, free of people using their so-called little cute devices that they download, their little weaponry or whatever you want to call it in regards to cyberbullying. Because after everything that's happened, this lady, this scared the HE double hockey sticks out of me. And I don't know what I have to do. But as of yesterday, I had people meeting with me in my apartment. So I need your support on this. This continued today to the point where I thought that I was not going to be here. I'm totally amazed that I'm able to make it here tonight. But I'm doing it and I'm standing up against this. You're going to have to address this issue. And you're going to, please, I'm asking you, I've also, will speak. This probably isn't going to make me real popular either with some of the law enforcement. And they would like to have some of the community to volunteer to ride with them when they're on their patrols at night. because there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed. I've had some of them in regards to my safety, but there's other things. I think that as a community and a city council meeting, we are all in agreement that we want to have a community that is safe and free from any kind of harassment. Because if you want families to move here, then you have to offer them something, and that means that they feel that their families are secure. Thank you, and that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Yep.
Okay, the consent agenda has the minutes of the previous meeting of February 4th, a Class C native wine with outdoor service and Sunday sales liquor license renewal for the Brick Arch Winery, Class C liquor license with Class B native wine with outdoor Sunday service and sales for Elder LLC at Ember Lane in West Branch, and the claims report. Can I have a motion to approve any of all of that?
So moved.
And a second, Jerry and Jody. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So this Elder LLC, this is Little Lights, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So have they hired, do they have like a third party that does their liquor, or
They
what's
did.
Elder LLC?
She had a person that was doing her liquor. They have now parted ways, so now Erin has taken over the liquor herself.
Okay.
I had a couple claims items, I can't remember what they were right now. Cedar County Co-op, we get fuel from them,
Yes,
and then there's this Wex Bank,
that's also fuel.
that's credit card up at the,
Yeah, we get
Station.
diesel fuel from the Cedar County Co-op, and we get gasoline
All right.
for the rest of the vehicles
That's what I
on the Wex credit card.
I think that's the question. Any other discussion? Okay, let's vote on the consent agenda, please.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
All right, to item G1, we have a second reading of ordinance 772, approving the rezoning of a parcel of property located north of Interstate 80. It is the Parkside, no, I'm sorry, it is the east of Parkside from B2 Business District to a PUD District, Land Unit Development. And this is the Parkside BP property. I need a motion to approve that, please. Colton and Nick. This is our second reading, right? Yeah. This is a great idea. Support it completely. Any other discussion? All right, let's vote.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
All right. Golf cart ordinance. Let's talk about consider a new golf cart ordinance brought to us by a citizen. How do I start this out? Does any chief or,
The concerns for the ramping use of golf courses?
okay,
Is that essentially what I would say?
Bobby doesn't want to come up and talk.
If you want me to, I will. It doesn't matter.
So the
Yeah, we need some explanations.
Yeah.
And then maybe the chief.
I'm Bobby Sexton. I live at Greenview. Over the last couple years, I've noticed a lot more golf cart traffic coming and going from the golf course or going downtown or whatever. And the ordinance that the city now holds, I feel, is very vague. And I think that as our city is growing, which everybody agrees with me that it is growing, that the problem could become worse. So I got the ordinances from several cities in Iowa and kind of took pieces out of all of them. There's a lot of similarities between them. And I tried to put something together for the council just to start to look at. Not necessarily this is what I think is the best, but I think it's time before something happens, whether it be a kid falling off of a cart, because I see a lot of kids driving carts that probably shouldn't be driving carts, and there's 4, 5, 6 kids on the golf carts, and they're being kids or piddling around, and I think we need to do something before somebody gets hurt. That's my main concern. And but I tried to make it so it's good for everybody, and I just think it's time that the city steps up and gets something a little more refined.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
So this chapter 78 that's in here was put together by Bobby?
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. Yeah.
I'll send you a bill.
All right, we'll pay the bill of $0.
Bobby Sexton had contacted the city, and as a result, contacted me. And he proposed a golf cart ordinance, and he did a lot of research, and I think his research was awesome, that he spent a lot of time in this. I thought about changing it and or interpreting it for the police department or for the city, but it was so well written and so encompassing that I wanted to make sure that everyone had an option to look at what he was proposing and things like that. What originally led to this, we had some young kids riding on golf carts that weren't of age, hanging on golf carts, sitting in seats that in places that didn't have seats. And so there's been discussion about the safe operation of golf carts. Also, golf carts by nature usually don't have automobile insurance. They have homeowners. They don't have automobile insurance. So what happens is if they get involved in a crash and some young people get hurt, the homeowner's insurance doesn't cover the golf cart or the injuries on the golf cart. So this ordinance covers a lot of things. It covers insurance. It covers registration. The idea is that when a person comes in for a registration, they get a little sticker. The city can get some money out of the deal, and also they can see if the golf cart is insured. There was also some mention in there about us inspecting golf carts. I don't know that since we don't inspect cars in the city, I don't know that we should inspect golf carts. If we see a malfunctioning light or something like that in a golf cart, we could certainly stop it. One thing about this ordinance, it allows nighttime operation, which may or may not be in direct conflict with the Iowa Code. We've adapted the golf cart ordinance or law of the state of Iowa, and basically the golf cart law in Iowa says you must be a licensed driver. You can only operate that golf cart during daytime hours, and it's got to be a licensed driver, and SMV and the flag and the whole 9 yards. One thing I like about the ordinance, it specifies that they can't be on certain roads. In the Iowa Code, it says that you're not supposed to be on major thoroughfares. In this ordinance outlaws what they consider a major thoroughfare. So the ordinance, I think, has some valid points, but it's up to you guys to decide whether you want to do registrations, you want to do inspections. If you think automobile insurance is a good idea, one thing I've got a question to our attorney to see if we can enact an ordinance that's in violation of Iowa code. Iowa code says only daytime operation, even if it's equipped with headlights and taillights and brake lights and that kind of stuff. The Iowa code says only a daytime operation. So I'm looking for interpretation there, whether we can actually change that law. Mr. Sexton's thought, and I can see where he's coming from, if you have a golf tournament, sometimes the golf tournaments run long, and so to have the lunch or supper afterwards, they have to make other arrangements to remove the golf cart from the area. Either leave it there or drive it before it gets dark and then come back to the event. So this is just open to your discussion. Your opinions are welcome, and this is truly a community input type of thing. I'm asking for your guys' input.
Question for you, is the golf cart with lights and brake lights and turn signals, is that a street legal? That can be a licensed vehicle, correct?
No.
No,
There's no registration with the golf cart.
no.
Well, if they wanted to be street legal at night, they could register it, could they?
You don't go get registration like you do a motor vehicle.
No, you don't.
I don't even think you can.
So, yeah, I've never heard of a golf cart being technically licensed. And under Iowa code, is even if it is equipped with lights, the way I interpret the Iowa code is that you have no nighttime operation. The problem with golf carts, if you have somebody that's driving a golf cart and they're going 10, 15 mile an hour at night and a little taillight,
Oh, yeah.
and then other people are going faster, are they going to roll over the golf cart and not see it in time? And I think that's the opinion. So, one, I'm not saying I necessarily disagree with it, but I don't want to be in violation or conflict with Iowa code.
So Iowa code says no golf carts at night, period,
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah, there's no, and I don't know how other cities handle that, whether they allow it or, my opinion is, I think as a city, we can make it more strict, but we can't make it, the Iowa code, more lenient. But like I said, I've got a question to our attorney to get his opinion.
Okay, so that's one issue.
I mean, the bulk of this issue is going to happen in the summertime when people are golfing anyway. It's already light till 9 anyway. I mean, we're really only talking about an hour.
Yeah, but
Not if you're hanging around for 2 or 3 hours.
and it's not, don't forget, this is not just for the golfing either, because I see a lot of golf carts in town that don't go to the golf course, that are just using their golf carts to get around town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I see a bunch of, I've seen them on Main Street,
I can
sitting in
list-
front
I
of
can
Main
think of
Street
3
Suites
right
several times.
But I guess my question is if we've been following the Iowa code and enforcing the Iowa code, most of these problems would have been resolved already anyway, correct?
As far as-
as far as nighttime driving is, they would be.
There's two things. One, there's no mention in Iowa code that I remember that covers insurance. There's no exemption in Iowa code about nighttime operation.
But the majority of this has come about because we've got kids running around on carts, which they're all supposed to be licensed drivers according
Right.
to the Iowa code. And apparently there's a nighttime problem also, which is why that's all in here. Which in Iowa code, they said they're not supposed to be running at night anyway. So I guess my question is
So why would we require lights and have a nighttime?
my biggest
Second
question is
question.
if we've been following the Iowa code and enforcing it, this problem shouldn't have ever came here. It should have been taken care of.
Well, I think,
I have, we have stopped golf carts. We haven't heavily enforced them, not having a driver's license is a $330 fine, but, I think part of it is, if you've noticed in the newspaper and, even on the front, door of our, city hall, we make it known. We try to, and also newspaper, we try to make the code informative to everyone. We like to get the word out. And we are going to step up enforcement of unlicensed drivers offering driving golf carts. We have done that before. We haven't really wrote them tickets necessarily, but we have talked to them. But that's what we're trying to do is educate people. But to answer your question, that's part of the reason we haven't had a golf cart ordinance before now is because we've actually been using the Iowa code, and that does give us some options.
But it doesn't limit licensed drivers.
It does.
You have to have a licensed driver.
No, but it doesn't limit licensed drivers. So I have a license, I can drive my golf cart down Main Street.
Well, actually, I
You do
consider
accept-
that a major thoroughfare.
Okay.
We do accept you can't drive on Main Street and down.
Yeah, but I'm just, well, then I can drive it around town.
And you can't
I have a
drive
license.
golf
That's what I'm
carts.
saying, this ordinance
Right.
would
When
sort
we-
of curb it, but
People are still gonna drive around. I don't know what this does. They're still gonna drive around town, people with golf carts. What this does is
it makes people safer,
maybe make them liable.
yeah.
I'm a little bit against requiring, if your homeowner covers your golf cart,
It does not.
I don't, well, you can get it, you have to get it, I
If it
think.
still doesn't
Then it's
cover,
not through your homeowners, it's a different policy.
But that's not $300,000. It's not
No.
like an automobile coverage.
You can get a liability that does not cover damage to your golf cart. If you get a full coverage, then the rate goes up, is why that is.
And that's attached to your homeowner's policy.
No, it's not, it's a separate
completely
policy.
separate.
Okay.
You can get it in conjunction, just like you add your cars to your homeowners and get a bigger thing, a bundle. But it is a separate policy.
Okay, let's dwell on the insurance thing a bit. Who are we protecting and who are we, by requiring liability insurance, who are we
People
protecting?
driving the golf cart,
The people in
And-
the golf cart?
in and driving the golf
Or
cart.
I would think more of citizen who got hit or property who got hit by that driver.
In the golf cart? Or
The victims say, if someone got hit
by a car or by the golf
by
cart?
the golf cart,
That's why you have insurance. Now it's like an auto policy. It's
Um,
like homeowner, it's like an auto policy, exactly.
So if you're driving a golf cart and you blow through a stop sign and you get hit, it helps cover some of the insurance on the people on the golf cart. It would also help the person that hit the golf cart that was obeying the law, give them some option of getting recoups for some of the damages.
I could probably be agreeable to that, I suppose.
So, going on down the list here, so the inspection, I feel the inspection's a good thing, cause that's where they get their sticker. You get to see that the owner of that cart has a driver's license, and it shows that they have the insurance to be on the street.
Okay, but that could all be brought out if and when they get pulled over for a violation. If we require it,
Plus, we also we know who's on the street, so that the police department knows this vehicle, this golf cart is assigned to this person if it was in an accident of some sort. You can look up this and see that it's got an owner.
And it's just an initial, it's not mechanical inspection, it's just, you have your sticker, you have your sign, you have your flag.
To
Exactly.
make sure that the sign is visible,
not-
the flag is in the proper space.
Because the issue would be is, I could come down here, I could come to Leslie and say, hey, I have a golf cart, and provide all this information. And then my golf cart could be sitting at home with no flag, no slow-moving vehicle thing, and no sticker.
well, then you lied on the application.
Because nobody lies.
Or it fell
Then
off.
you get pulled over, you lied on the application, that's.
Well, yeah,
that's
but I
not
mean, that's
right.
the thing, but still, you're gonna issue a permit to somebody already right off the bat that doesn't have any of it.
Not that I want to be tasked with it, but,
Yeah.
you know, we could always drive by their house and make sure it has the flag and SMV. One advantage of coming down here is if we gave them a sticker, we could put a sticker on the SMV so we can tell if they've got insurance. And also the thought is if they do come down here, we can give them a list and documentation of what we expect of them for safe operation. It's felt too that the thought is the city employees have enough to do too without having this added task. So, but like I said, you guys are the rule makers, and I'm willing to, and like I said, this is just a discussion, and if there's something you want me to put together, or change, I can propose that next time around. Or if you're happy with what the Iowa code says right now, we can just leave it like that.
I mean, I respect Bobby for doing this, and
I do too.
this is great.
It's a good piece of work,
I just
actually.
don't want to be a heavy-handed government that requires a
I actually
permitting
like
for
the
everything.
idea of the insurance because I have seen a lot of kids loaded down. I'm not saying that I didn't do it, but now that I'm older and wiser, I mean, it doesn't take much to flip off the back of them, and when you're standing up where the bag's supposed to be, and you just hitting your head, you're gonna have a head injury. How much is a head injury?
$1 million.
300,000 isn't very much to cover $1 million.
Won't cover anything if they're not a licensed driver.
So is it consensus, maybe we should pursue this a little farther?
Yes.
That's what I'm getting. Okay.
I like
Jerry, would you like to weigh in on what your policy is on golf carts at the golf course?
As far as,
Licensed driver or?
our policy is, if you own your own golf cart, you can drive it at 14 years of age on the golf course. But if you're renting a golf cart from us, you have to be 16.
Okay. All right, so what do we do next? We need to
I need an amendment.
tweak
that-
it
Yeah.
somehow? Any suggestions?
I would assume anything to comply with the state should probably
Okay,
adjust.
so the nighttime thing may be with lights and all that.
That'd be
maybe
kind of a
move.
question.
Ron, could I
Anyway.
say one thing about that, Ron? The reason I put that in there is because down at Kelowna, where he sells and rents hundreds of golf carts. And down there, they have a lot of people that use them to go to ball games, because parking is at a premium like it is around here for a lot of things. So they adapted it so people could get home from a sporting event. You know, like if you go to a football game, or you go to a baseball or softball game, you can get home without, you know, it's like, when it gets dark, you're going from where you're at to home. You're not coming down to Herb and Lou's for a pizza and then going home. And so that's why I put that in there, because I see a lot of older people coming to the football games because they can get, you know, a lot of times they can weasel them things in and just sit in their golf cart and watch the game. So that's kind of why it is the way it is. I mean, that's why I put it in there, I guess. But even when we have golf league, when it gets in the fall, by the time we start and get done, it's dark. So, you know, I got a $10,000 golf cart. If I didn't live at the golf course, I wouldn't want to let it sit in the parking lot all night. You just never know. So
Are you
that's,
concerned though, I mean, we're basically forcing everyone to buy a golf cart that has lights and,
well, I think
Has
you
lights.
could rewrite that. to
Or
where
not
over
drive
the
at
years,
night.
People
Right.
would, as they
Just don't
traded
drive at
up,
night.
that's what they would get.
Right.
You know, you're kind of pushing them to get.
If you're one that wants to drive at night, you're gonna have lights and tail lights.
Okay.
If you're not gonna drive at night, you don't have to worry about it, so.
Exactly.
And they can all be,
Yep.
they can all be adapted. If you got a cart that doesn't have lights and tail lights, they can be adapted to have that if you want to drive that cart.
Get some headlamps and some Velcro.
batteries.
Flashlights.
Flashlights.
Cell phone.
Pretty cheaply, you can have it done.
Okay, all right,
I've done it before.
But like Mike said, if it doesn't pass state code.
we're not gonna supersede state law or override that,
Well,
for sure.
One thing about that, and that's what they told me in Kelowna, is
Yeah, how they
that's,
do it.
that's the thing about the council. You have the opportunity to change an ordinance. and set your own. So that's what they did. They have the state as their base, and then they drew up and changed and added ordinances to that to make it their, what works for Kelowna.
Is some of this from Kelowna?
Yeah, and a lot of Tipton, Lisbon, a bunch of places around.
Yeah, just be curious about that. Okay.
Okay, so what's the next step?
Because I mean, states pass laws that, we're not state, but I mean, states pass laws that go against the federal code and vice versa. What do you mean, you look at me weird like that? Colorado,
We need
Illinois.
legal advice from our city attorney.
Well, for instance, you know, you couldn't pass a law that says a 12-year-old could drive a golf cart because they don't have a driver's license, because in Iowa you require to have a driver's license. So I think I'm going to rely on Kevin. He's not been available the last month or so. So I like the idea of having the number of passengers that you have the number of seats for. I don't think people should be hanging on the golf cart. I like the idea of insurance, and I still like the idea of licensed drivers. I would even include people with school permits. My interpretation, if you have a school, somebody that's taking golf for school and they're driving the golf cart and they have a school permit, they could drive up the golf course. I would interpret that being okay. And I'd lean towards no nighttime operation, but as far as whether you think that you need to have registration, it's entirely up to you and inspection.
Just be another thing.
Okay, I don't know what to do next.
Asking.
But yeah, I think he needs some direction on inspections and registration, if you don't mind, so that he can.
So would you do the registration then? The PD
Leslie
or?
probably would. Just what she wants to do.
That's what I want.
I'd even include Jerry in this, because he's the golf pro out there.
I own a golf course.
Volunteer.
Because the golf carts are always
Stood
out
right up
there,
there.
so, and he knows more about golf carts than I do. So I would say that I wouldn't mind doing it, and if Jerry'd be willing to do it, I don't, if we took the, burden off Leslie. I mean, I wouldn't expect Leslie to inspect a golf cart, but if
Couldn't
you
you
think.
just do it in mass?
That's-
Saturday
that-
morning, the 1st of April.
I think we could
Like
set
a
up a
day.
couple dates on a Saturday that,
And it may not be as
The
many
12
as
or
you
something.
think. I don't know. I have no idea what
Some
to
people might stop.
expect.
I mean, insurance policy might be enough.
Well, I'm gonna have to.
I think it'd be more than you think. though.
Yeah, it could be more than that.
I mean, obviously, anything at the golf course would be exempt.
Well,
I don't know if we can
inspection
put
basically.
that.
You mean in
You
Greenview?
have a license.
No, the
you have a
golf
flag,
course.
you have a
Right.
moving sign, and proof of
But
insurance.
It wouldn't be reaching into
80% of those are coming from home.
But who's
But,
liable?
yeah,
A lot of them come from
Well,
home.
no, I get
I
it.
do.
But it doesn't mean any,
Across
it's at the
town.
golf course.
Yeah.
If you keep yours at the golf course, don't
How about
take
your
it
golf
home.
cart?
You'd be good.
right,
Mine's a John Deere, I can drive it anywhere I want. They don't like it on the golf course, is the
Is there
problem.
any way, I guess it's another Kevin question, I mean, if you do it at night, could you add like a special event?
Rider,
Or a special event
um,
thing into the, so like what Jerry said, like football games or anything like that. So if it's like a special event, you have till 10. I mean, that'd be another Kevin question, but we could keep it, nothing's going on, it's till, I mean, you probably won't like that, but it's just.
Kind of like hometown days.
Yeah,
I
like-
mean, the park rents, I don't
Yeah,
know,
there's an
10,
exemption
12
for
or
that.
whatever. Even the city has some.
Yeah, there's an exemption in there.
If you notice, whenever we have golf carts that who are hometown days, we haul the first aid kits, the flags, the SMBs, and also what I guide everyone to do is not to operate the golf carts at night. Now there are some that maybe after the fireworks stay off the beaten path and don't get on the roads. That's my only thought is on days where you have a high school football game, having somebody out with a golf cart when everyone's leaving the football game could be a little bit traffic issue. there is exemption in that, if I remember right, where you can operate from the high school on the sidewalk, on the trail, from the high school to, I think that's in there, I haven't,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
To the community bank.
community bank. And I don't know if that's all our trailer and whether it's part of the National Park Service, but,
Well, you can now go around on the new street and zigzag over to,
And avoid Main Street, you're saying?
That's so you take the cart
what's it
path,
called?
cross at the bank, and
The
then
new-
Dawson.
come up.
Yeah.
There's Dawson.
Do we allow them on sidewalks?
The other
No.
thing that some
Trail?
cities do is they, at nighttime driving, for $20, you buy this little beacon light with a suction cup. And they pop those on the top, cause they're a suction cup, so they'll stick to the fiberglass or the plastic top, so they have like a, just to give more visible, you know, like the bicycle blinker, little light they have on the bicycles, just, I mean, if you're,
Bad idea.
I'd hate to hold it up because of a safety issue, so there is, I've looked into, you know, for $20 you can buy one of them, they plug in a cigarette lighter, or you can clip them onto your battery, I mean, there's,
But it's all a moot point if we can't go against the state code.
but I'm thinking since Kelowna did it, there's a possibility that, and that's how they kinda explained it to me, is they did an ordinance, their
But you
own,
can't do an ordinance that's weaker than a state ordinance.
Maybe the
I'm
state
just
just,
saying they did it, so.
Yeah.
maybe the
There's gotta
state
be
just
something
doesn't
there.
care that much to look at golf cart ordinances in the town of.
So I just to kind of clarify, so when we talk about inspections, we're not really getting into safety, equipment safety, or
Right now, it'd just
Lights,
be.
insurance, SMU, a slow moving vehicle thing, and,
Yeah,
Flag.
Flag. I
Okay.
mean, I don't think we should inspect for, if it's
Like
motor.
tailpipes
modified.
hanging, or I don't, yeah, whatever.
Motor's modified, I don't think
Yeah.
we need to do any of that. I think it's just visual. You have the three things that you need, the
life
slow
safety,
moving.
life
the-
safety things.
Okay.
If we do a sticker permit, you have that.
I would imagine it has some type of VIN number, I guess.
so yeah, you'd have to have a
They
VIN.
got a vehicle, they got a VIN number.
Okay.
What's your suggestion as far as nighttime operation? I mean, we're gonna propose it to Kevin, but if Kevin says it's okay,
I'd like
Which-
to allow it, somehow, I'd like to allow it, somehow.
I think
don't
we
know.
would get more people in town probably using golf carts. If it's allowed. They don't,
Is that a
Like-
good
like Bob-
thing or a bad
like-
thing?
Well, they're covered
No,
by
no.
insurance.
If they're well lit, I don't see why it would be a bad thing, how it could be a
well,
bad thing.
less, golf cart only weighs 1,000 pounds compared to a car or a truck that weighs 3,000 or 4,000
It's not gonna be a
pounds.
happy
So it's
day
less,
if there's a.
less wear and tear on your streets, for one, but it gets,
Most of them are electrical, could be environmentally
no,
friendly. No.
some are.
Depends.
If you're driving across town, you're probably not using an electric car,
You're not going,
even though they do go, you can get them to go pretty fast, but.
especially downhill.
I think it's important that we continue to educate the public, that it's not allowed to have a non-licensed driver operate that.
That's probably the biggest thing of this whole thing.
I really don't mind the insurance part either, but.
So as far as the nighttime operation, we'll wait to see what Kevin says. You guys are okay with inspection? I would say that I would like to include the Golf Pro or his designee to inspect the golf carts. Insurance, I think we're all okay with the insurance, and we're okay with licensed drivers.
Yep.
Are you okay with the roads that are designated as non-golf cart routes?
That's Main Street and Baker Avenue.
Yep.
And Parkside,
Main Street down.
across the interstate. That's it. Okay,
What about Downey?
direction?
Yeah, so,
Downey Street, yeah, that's what I'm at.
South Downey.
South, North Downey, sorry. North Downey.
That's Baker, that's considered Baker.
Baker.
Yeah,
That
On
she
here.
is in a weird.
Oh, yeah, it is Baker.
okay,
Sorry.
Chief, I guess,
Okay.
give you something to go
Got
on.
a direction. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right, item 3, water. Let's talk about amending the water rate discounts for large water users. I think Leslie's done a lot of work on this. Wait a minute, Let me find myself here. So, what's our cutoff now?
$250,000, I'm sorry, 250,000 gallons. And I did a little bit of research and did find that we have mainly three accounts that use over 250. The largest one, from just what they've used so far, and this is just by using the West Branch Village Haven Park under new ownership. I didn't go back to when it was just West Branch Village, but they are consistently over 250,000 gallons by quite a bit.
Is that by $5,000 a year?
So
or-
far, this is
Eight
only, I
months.
only have eight, I only did
I
eight,
see.
It's almost
8 months.
6,000.
I only did 8 months worth of data, and it was already at $5,800
That they've saved.
that they've saved.
So Colton, are they now water metered through, so all the trailers out there are metered for the village, right? So
Yes, I actually brought some stuff for you guys to take home and look at. We don't have to discuss it all that much, but, yes, they're all, everybody has their own meter.
So are they charging the renter by the amount of gallons they're using?
Yes.
Okay. So
Wonder
this
what
is,
rate.
this is my opinion on at least this. Cause I looked it up and there's about 168 or 9, I think there's 168 users on this. They're getting a commercial rate on this and it's all residents. I don't think there should be any discounts, because nobody else in this town as a resident gets a discount because they use water. So it averages out to about, if you take the amount of gallons that they use in a month and divide it by 168, it's roughly 3,000 to 4,000 gallons a resident,
Same as any
which
other
is
house.
about the same as anybody else. I don't feel that just because they're on 1 meter from the city that they should get a discounted rate, because they're supplying water to residents.
So, a little background. When we first did this, they were using 1 million plus gallons every month. And it was a measure to try to help them provide affordable housing. You know, because it wasn't sub-metered, you didn't have, all of it was rental property. You didn't have the ability to go in and check for the toilets and do that other stuff. Once they sub-metered it and you started billing them for it, miraculously, all that stuff got figured out, you know.
You're not washing your car at 5 a week.
So I kind of have a change to where I kind of agree with this. Especially, you know, Haven Park has no commitment to affordable housing. Their commitment is to pat their pockets. So why should the city basically subsidize part of their water bill to help them provide affordable housing when all they're gonna do is just figure out ways to charge the resident more money too? We might as well get our fair share.
They're not passing the savings on they get after
No.
250,000.
No, I mean,
No refunds back to each
I mean-
homeowner.
So what's your water bill?
they are, I actually brought a sample water bill. Not mine.
You probably don't pay one.
But I brought a sample water bill and I'll hand it out, but this, and we can't call it a water bill because we're not a public utility, so we have to call it a sewer discharge rate. But this lady used 3,260 gallons of water, and her water bill was $22.72. They charged her at a rate of, they charge by the gallon, not by per thousand, and so it's 0.00697 per gallon. So it's $6.97 per thousand gallon. And I believe what they did was they averaged the high level and the low level, and they just said that's the rate.
And to go to this, the village part does not pay sewer rates. But,
Well, the village doesn't pay us
but they
sewer
don't pay the
rates,
city, okay?
but
so-
they are gonna start charging their residents a sewer rate.
With
Well, that's what this is
anticipation-
called,
with
sewer discharge.
No, this is
They're
another
gonna
one.
do a new-
There's rate changes coming, and so they're changing the water rate, and then they're gonna charge you $4.08 for a sewer fee. And then the stormwater fee that was always included in the rent, they've now passed that on to the resident too, so now they gotta pay the stormwater fee, all the things that used to be included in your rent, none of it is anymore, so.
So, being they're not paying any sewer rates to the city, and we're charging double water rates for Pheasant Run, because they don't discharge their sewer here? I mean, here again, if they're not using our sewer system, and we're charging somebody else double the water rate, why wouldn't we be charging them double the water rate?
Now is Pheasant Ridge in the city limits?
No.
Yeah.
No, but they're using our water.
So, but they don't pay city taxes then either, right?
Right.
Well, that's true.
Okay, so I think there's your difference.
Go ahead.
I have a question for you, Leslie. What's the minimum rate? Is it 2,000 gallons for minimum rate?
1,700 gallons is the minimum.
How many times are people not using 1,700 gallons getting charged?
They don't know. Can you actually tell that, because it's only registered in town?
Yeah, for West Branch Village in particular, or?
Well,
for
no,
the
just
regular
where I'm
residents?
going with this is, if you have the little old lady that, uses maybe 1,000 gallons of water a month, but she's paying for 1,700, aren't these businesses getting a discount anyway? Because she's up here and only using down here, and she's getting charged for, the minimum. So wouldn't that be a double discount for the large users?
No, because the larger users it'll be a flat per 1,000 rate, so, but to answer your first question, how many? I'll guesstimate maybe 200 people use the minimum, give or take. I try to think of all the people that come in, so, it's a smaller number. But then for like everyone else, it's charged like, so 2,000 gallons times $7.79, that's what they're being charged. So they're being charged more the true rate, but yes, there is, since the minimum was put into place, the people, and Mary Beth used to say this, the people that are water, conservative or whatever you want to call it, they do seem to take a little bit more of a hit. Now, that was in place, maybe Colton would know why that was put into place, but I don't know why that was put into place.
The minimum?
The minimum versus just a straight 1,000 gallons.
It's always been that way. It was when I was on the council
Okay,
last.
yes, I
We
don't.
raised it, I think, a little bit.
It was like 1,500.
Yeah.
When Matt was here, he raised it to 17.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not using the minimum and you're getting charged for the minimum,
The only way to deal with that is to do $1 per gallon. Pay for 90, what?
But
69
where
cents.
I'm going is on the other end, these people are using this humongous amount of water, are benefiting from the people that aren't using the 2,000.
Havel Park's not gonna pass it on to the homeowners out there,
No.
so.
And I kind of brought it up for two reasons. One being more something, especially with the large users, we can enact right away. The other one was just, I work in the utilities, I'm an engineer for utilities at a plant. It's a little bit different, but we have water users and stuff there too. And we it's hard to do in a plant, but I think it's more larger communities, but there are communities, I looked a little bit, there are some smaller, I don't know if they're as small as us, that does water conservation billing. So the government, EPA, NWA come out with standard water rates. So if you're a family of four, the average family of four, I mean, I'm making this up, I don't remember the exact number, would use, say, 4,000 gallons of water. And what cities will do is if, they'll set that as your basic rate. So if, whatever our rate is, the 779, up to 4,000 gallons, and as soon as you go over 4,000 gallons, it's an extra 10 or 15%. Because you're a larger strain. Even though the average user for your size should be 4,000 gallons, and say you use 7.
Which is just the opposite of what we do now.
Yeah, but
We give a discount.
this would be for, no, this would be residential. This wouldn't even be commercial. This would be a residential, not saying we have to do it, but it's just something that towns are doing. So people that live in a home, 4 people, or even 2 people, it doesn't discriminate. You just set it out as a level. Say the average home in West Branch is 4 people, then you use that rate. And if you're 1 person or 2 people and you use 5,000 gallons, your extra 1,000 gallons is gonna be at a higher rate, whatever rate you set that to. So then it promotes that person or families to then conserve water. So then not only do you get some sort of recoup of somebody using that much water, because I mean, water's not free, we pump it and it's not forever. So it might stop somebody from washing their car. I mean, the same principle we had out when you think about the trailer court is somebody might not wash their car 5 or 6 times a week. They might decide, oh, maybe only 3 times a week. They want to lower their bill and stay below that 4,000 or whatever. That was the other reason I brought it up. So I think we're leaning towards, for the large users, getting rid of that one. I just wanted to make sure we talked about the other one too. We don't have to, but there are several cities that do. You can find examples all over the place, but generally I think that's bigger cities. But
So to follow that model, we'd have to pick an average, there's a national average, 150 gallons a day is what the average person uses, or something
yeah,
like that.
so there's a set standard that the EPA comes out with every year and changes it. It's essentially, they come out, it's like how they come out with the cost of living adjustment. They also come out with the average water use. And they'll change it every year. And if cities will amend it, and if you go above that, you pay, like I said, 10%, 15%,
Gotta
whatever
keep
you
it
set it
simple.
at.
It's gotta stay simple, or else Leslie's gonna go crazy.
I'm just trying to think, how am I going to make that work in our system?
Yeah, I know, I mean, like I said, I mean,
We might need a whole new system.
that's what I mean, it's a software
Wait
thing.
5
So when
years.
you get into the bigger cities, they don't have, I mean, it's a software thing, it just automatically does it. I'm not saying ours can, I'm just saying it's an idea. And you have larger communities, they have a software that just does it. As soon as that number goes above 4, that software just goes.
Yeah.
And then adds whatever is over to it. I don't know if ours can.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a step rate in some ways,
Yep.
similar to how the 250, because I don't have to do anything for the rate that West Branch Village and Plastic Products, they just have a rate table that says if you hit 250,000, then it gives this discount. So
Yeah.
it's probably, would just have to be if you hit 5,000 gallons, 6,000 gallons, then it would know to do that, I think.
And then some towns take it a step further where it's every 1,000 gallons it goes up. So if you hit 4,000, you go up 10% past that, and as soon as you get 5,000, then it's another 10. I'm not saying we advocate for it, I'm just saying it's,
I can see a drawback in that, as, at least with the way our system works, is that 1 month you might be under the 4,000, and the next month, because you use this, say you use 3,700 gallons this month, it rolls over the next month, you add an extra 1,000 onto your water. That's why we see that some months you get a bill that's a little bit more, because that extra gallons actually rolled over into that month.
Yeah, so that could be a meter, because right now we read our meters in thousands of gallons and we round down, so that would be another, it wouldn't just be an easy, overnight, let's do it that way.
but
Gotta
I'm not advocating that we do it. I'm just saying that communities do it. I mean, for just the sake
Okay,
of
well, let's,
kind of water conservation, just it's kind of the way of things are going, especially
I guess
with
our
water
task
tables.
at hand right now,
won't be coming and visiting, I go to the bathroom every 10 minutes.
I think a lot of times too, even just someone getting a high bill immediately makes them think, okay, what did I do, And I tell people too, when I first started, I said, I don't even let the water run when I brush my teeth anymore, because, that is water going down the drain.
Okay, for the task right now, though, we're the large water users.
What was both?
So, we've got 4 pretty large ones in town that consistently go over the 250,000 gallons.
Plastic products, I just broke out because I had a 2-year,
Oh, they're twice,
2
I
years
see,
worth of
yeah.
history,
So,
so
I have a
originally
question
combined
about
together.
plastic products. I'm assuming that their water, most of their water usage is for cooling the plastic as it comes out of the mold.
I couldn't tell you why they use so much water. I don't
Good
know what they
assumption.
do.
Yeah, probably.
That'd be my assumption. So,
They recycle it?
yeah, I guess I kind of look at it as, if that's what they're using it for, why haven't they taken, I'm assuming that's what they do, why don't they take steps to recycle that water and reuse it instead of letting it
Because
go
they're
down
not
the
having
drain?
to pay for it.
Yeah, that's probably.
It's only
quality.
costing them $2,000 a year.
Probably a quality.
But those are kind of the things that I was trying to get at. I think if we could offer an incentive for them to do that,
That's where I was going with that.
That would make
helps
sense.
us, because
Right.
we're not trying to produce so much water.
right?
That if we had some kind of incentive for them to capture the water that they're using to cool and reuse it, their water usage would go way down.
So the incentive would be to stop giving them a discount. It's one incentive.
Yeah, that's the stick,
Yeah,
but
but-
there's also a carrot.
If they're only spending a couple $1,000s a year, they're not gonna spend $100,000 to recapture their water.
And it could also
I
be
mean,
more
in looking
investment,
at the numbers-
which is maybe even higher assessment.
I wouldn't see if we changed it to get rid of it, that I would see for $2,000. I don't think we
Well,
run the risk of
here's the other
losing somebody to
incentive.
relocate for $2,000.
Here's the other incentive for us to try to implement this to them, is that it's not only the water that they're using, it's the water they're dumping down the sewer, which is adding to our sewer.
I guess I'm confused. We brought all this up because we wanted to add more money, and all we're doing is trying to figure out how we can make it cheaper for people.
Yeah, but when we make it cheaper for them, we make it cheaper for us, because we're not producing that much water. We're not having to produce, our wells are not having to produce 250,000 gallons a month.
If we were to get rid of the thing.
But
it'd be
our
at
infrastructure
13,000.
itself, just sitting there doing nothing, costs money. And we have to be able to produce enough stuff to, right now, we barely produce enough water to pay for it, if it just sat there and did nothing.
Point.
I don't think that's correct. I mean, we generate profit from our utilities. I don't know that we're getting rich, and we have a lot of investment that should be made, but I think we're recovering enough from our water billing.
Yeah, I thought we were.
I think we're doing okay.
So we're gonna have
But,
enough money
yeah.
to do all the water main work that
Yeah,
needs done
that's
on the
what he's
other
saying.
side of the road, and
Well,
We got rid
when
of
you
the
talk about
break.
that's a little different issue, because the water rates were so low for so many years, and the utility pipes were allowed to deteriorate. And I don't think we can expect the water system to generate enough funds to pay for all that. That's gonna have to come from probably general obligation bonds, I would imagine.
But I think the question, and I tried to kind of phrase the discussion, sometimes conservation runs against the economics of running your system. You, as a council, kind of prioritize what's more important to you. Is conservation more important, that maybe we, tilt the scales a little bit towards conservation and maybe have to rely on general obligation or general fund to maybe pick up some of the infrastructure costs, or do we want to be 100% infrastructure minded and look at ways to make the system pay for itself? I mean, these are value decisions that we can basically take any direction. We'll figure out. It might mean we have to get new software. I don't know, but it's the bigger picture of where we want to go as a community.
Right now, we need to
we're
make
talking
sure we
about.
get our systems paid for, and so we can upgrade.
I don't know, if we get rid of the discount break, we're gonna make roughly 13 grand
$13,000.
a year.
And
at
that
the
helps
end of the
in,
day, that's nothing, guys. I mean, You know, that's nothing.
It's not, but I mean, it's $26,000 over the 2 years, it's
That's
not bad.
significant in my mind.
$13,000 could pay for a half of a brake or
Half of
a
fireworks.
a new valve or new fire hydrant.
And at least at that part, conservation and maintaining infrastructure are actually combined there, because we're getting a little bit more money, and we're saying to big users, be a little bit more responsible, or you're going, you know,
Right.
have to
The
take
odds
it.
are, they probably
Yeah.
won't be, for
Right.
an annual $2,000.
I,
Plastic's not gonna do anything.
well, no, that's just, I mean, that's just
We just
it.
get $2,000.
To incentivize them to cut us out of their expense just doesn't make any sense.
We're not incentivizing them, they're costing them $2,000.
No, I mean, if we were to offer them a carrot to
We already-
recycle their water, not use it, use as much as ours.
Really, for $2,000, I don't think they're.
It'd cost them more than that.
Cost them one more than $2,000.
They'd have to filter it and everything else, and it'd cost them way more than $2,000.
So are we up for some sort of, we haven't really, I can't quite
I brought it
get a
up.
feeling of where we're
Well,
at.
I'm good with getting rid of the.
I have,
settlement altogether.
I have a suggestion, which would be, why not raise the minimum so that, let's raise the minimum to 300,000 and that pretty much takes care of all of them except for the park. Most of them don't reach the 300,000 gallons.
It doesn't take care of West Branch Village. They use.
Right,
That's
but
the
if we
one we
put West
want-
Branch Village,
that's the one-
if we put them on
Straight
strict,
That's what I'm
straight rate.
saying, or you just get rid of it altogether and you don't gotta worry about it.
Yeah.
Either way.
That's the way I'd do it. I'd go, keep it simple.
Let's get rid of it.
That's
Yeah,
what
Get rid of the minimum.
Get rid of the minimum.
Because, I mean, you could also get to the point where maybe
So we'll need to do
plastic
a-
products is like sitting there on the edge, you know, like, oh, we got 50,000 more gallons. We can cool that 2 times
Well,
faster, and
I
still
think
save
if you
$2,000.
If you actually look
I
at
don't know,
the months
but-
that they're actually over, are probably the months that they're busiest.
Yeah.
So that's why some months are really high and some months aren't.
And
They're
the
predictable.
hottest.
Okay,
And the
so I just
hot-
kinda heard a consensus to maybe abandon the large water discount.
And I don't think realistically that's a driver to bring any businesses to town. $2,000.
They probably
Unless
don't
you
even
use it.
know it,
I was gonna say that too, but
unless they did the code, which.
Unless there's somebody
So
using
the
a
next
million
step
gallons of
then
water.
would be
a month.
to, is that an ordinance change?
Yeah,
or-
we'll bring back an ordinance, it'd be 3 readings, and
So there'll be more discussion when we read it.
that just seemed to me to be counterintuitive to give a break for somebody that does more maintenance damage to our equipment.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Item 4, Resolution 1877, accepting the city administrator's recommended budget and ordering a notice of hearing for March 2nd, 2020, and to adopt the fiscal year 2020-21 budget. Give me a motion, someone. Nick?
I'll second.
Tom will second. Taxes will stay the same. Tax rate, $13.09. 9.5 cents. Any other discussion? It includes some projects we want to get done. $6
See,
million.
that's the thing. You put all the projects into Public Works. I mean, they're in his plan. You took it out of projects and moved it.
What page you on?
Same page you on,
They're there.
This one?
31.
Well, they've always been there. When we went through this, the projects was in his budget.
Right. This year, not years past.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
These are not capital projects, major capital projects that Matt has in his budget. That's what we Yeah.
Some of them, to me, some of them are major projects.
These are pretty small compared to what
Yeah,
we've been doing.
compared to the big ones, yeah.
Yeah, they're,
That's why we can
College
get away
Street
with
Bridge,
doing
yeah,
it,
those are huge.
Fourth Street
Right.
repaving was a huge project.
First Street.
Yeah, First Street was big. Okay, I'm not hearing any objection, or we have a motion and a second to accept the budget. And then on March 2nd, we'll have the public hearing.
And then we'll
Then-
approve the budget.
All right.
Yeah, so this is just
That's what I
accepting
got
it.
confused there, man,
Yeah.
okay. Any other discussion? Okay, let's vote to approve resolution 1877, that's what's been motioned.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Okay. Let me find myself on this next one. Item 5, resolution 1876, approve submitting to the Iowa DOT a resolution agreement for a sign replacement program. This is a grant that Nevin has done the work on this. So give me a motion, someone. We'll talk about it, Jerry and Nick. This grant, I didn't read the whole damn thing.
Most of it that's on there, you
Like
don't
3
need to read.
pages, and I thought,
There
wait a
was
minute.
only 3 pages.
I don't need to know what signs look like. How much is this for? How many, can you
It's about
explain a little bit?
3,900. The DOT gives out grants. You can apply for it once.
Yeah.
You can apply for it once a year, and they'll give up to $5,000 for regulatory signs, basically, to cities. So we went through, started on the east side of town, went through all the stop signs, and that's basically what most of them are. There's like 40, 48, 49 signs on there, a couple dead end signs, a couple other things. So you have to have them put in, installed within 180 days, I believe. I'd have to look back, but I think that's what it was, 180 days. Everything just has to be put in perfect. They'll come out and inspect them. They randomly inspect them, so everything will have to be in perfect. And basically, we buy it all, and then they reimburse us at the end of it. And I think, and I think there's I think it's about $3,900 worth of signs that they'd replace. The posts, basically everything would be replaced.
Post also?
Yep. Yep, as long as the posts we're replacing are bent or damaged or obsolete in some way, or in the wrong location, which that's a big part of what's already in there.
Really?
Anything that was put in 20 years ago, is just put in. It's not necessarily put in where it was supposed to be, so.
You guys know where to put them then?
Yeah, there's certain locations that they have to be put in, based off whether there's.
That's probably
sidewalk.
where I quit reading.
Yeah, you missed those
That's
pages.
where I quit reading.
How much did you say it cost to replace all of them?
About 3,900 for 40 some signs. They're
How
about,
much do we spend every year on signs?
last year, close to $9,000, maybe 10. I put 10,000 into the budget for this next year. Yeah, they're just expensive.
You
One
buy a
post-
DOT approved stop sign, it'll boggle your mind what that costs. for a
Basically,
piece
the
of tin.
the collar, the post, and the sign are up in the $85 to $90 range for one post.
That's pretty cheap considering you go to Sharpless and they sell the stop signs at auction for over $100.
Or take the old ones out there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Seriously, they do.
that's without the like the street signs, because the crossing signs and all that, it all adds up quick. If you take one of those, you're probably another $75 or $80 in it. So you might have $150 in the one stop sign with the street signs on top of it. so, plus
Yeah,
the
okay.
They have
time.
bullet holes in there worth even more.
But,
Okay.
so basically, everything's already completed on that grant. All we need is a resolution signed so that we can turn it in. We'll turn it in to them tomorrow or the next day, and then as long as we get it, we can reapply for it a year from when they approve us for this one. So, and I talked to them the other day, and they didn't seem like there'd be any issue. They have never run out of money for this grant, so they kind of just keep going every year until they run out, and they haven't ran out yet since they started doing it, so.
All right. Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve. Let's go, Leslie.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yeah.
Stulman?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Okay. Redmond, got a little report here.
Sure. Just got 3 items I wanted to touch bases on. One, Nick reminded me that we have a couple council members that would like to get their pictures so our website will be complete. So try and schedule that with Nick. He's pretty open on whatever your time schedules are. We kind of talked a little bit on it before the meeting started, but we did get a chance to get the Volkswagen grant settlement grant in, thanks to John Fuller and his team. We were able to get that in yesterday, so we applied for 2. I think one was kind of a slow charger, and another one was a DC fast charger. The slow charger was around $14,000. They both come with 10% match, so that put us obviously around $1,400 for match on that one.
So the slow charger, let me explain that.
Sure.
It takes 6, maybe 8 hours to charge a car. That's not really what I was looking for, which
I
is,
wouldn't think
I'll
somebody-
take it.
Somebody in town here would wanna stop for 6 hours of charging.
Well, we
So
got
that's,
them in town
that's
for 8
why
hours.
I urged us to apply for the fast charger also, which takes 45 minutes to an hour. That's the
Isn't there
7,
an in-between?
pardon?
Isn't there an in-between? We can have them for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, the semi-fast.
Yeah.
Just 'cause it charges an hour,
They
don't
can do them in 15 minutes now. Yeah.
just 'cause it charges an hour doesn't mean they
Sounds like
won't
a
spend
death
2
trap.
hours in town.
So we applied for both.
Yes.
We can apply for both. Maybe we'll get both, maybe we'll just get one.
Jesus.
When that time comes, we'll have a decision to make.
You wanna spend
Patience.
$7,500?
Spend
You wanna spend
7,500 or 1,400? Go ahead, Redmond.
So, so the only other point I wanted to take some time, just kind of brief you on the Cedar Johnson County Road debacle that we've been dealing with, because we wanted to address the speed on that road. And the way it was, if you're traveling north, then it was 25 miles an hour. If you're traveling south, it was 35 miles an hour on the same stretch of road because of the jurisdiction issue. So I hadn't talked to, I know Kevin's been involved, but I hadn't talked to him about what we were able to find, which basically says we're responsible. It was a 28E agreement that we signed back in 1977, basically saying that, we're going to maintain the road and take all the responsibility of the road, including erecting signage. So right there tells me we can go ahead and get that sign, get that 35 mile an hour sign off of there and make it 25.
I think we ought to go to the supervisors and try to have them tell us that we can't do it. And then when they tell us we can't do it, we can throw this damn agreement away.
Because you want them to pay for some of the road.
Yeah.
It's a thought.
Sounds like a plan.
If they tell us, go ahead, do whatever you want, we don't care, then so be it. We're not out nothing.
Doesn't hurt,
Okay,
wouldn't hurt.
all right.
And then we want our $2,300 back.
With interest.
They paid us.
They paid us, we had to pay them back.
Want to renege on that?
We'll give it back to them. That'd be the best
As long as they plow
$2,300 we
their
ever
half.
spent.
No interest.
So I'll make that happen. That's All right.
We're at it, you
What
wanna talk?
would we have to go to supervisor's meeting then, you think? And
Probably best to do that.
we could, you and I could go meet with a couple of them,
Uh-huh.
probably.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right, let's talk about it.
Okay.
55 that switches, right?
Okay, what else you got,
25
Reagan?
Nope, just want to remind you that we have to go
Fast one to change that. 10
do
minutes.
special provisions here to have a closed session, so it'll have to be a majority vote. And the vote has to be done in open meeting. So.
Yeah, just a minute. This watershed agreement, this Lower Cedar watershed thing.
Oh, yeah, if you wanted to.
So we are members of the Lower Cedar River Watershed Management Authority. I've been going to the meetings. They've got a grant for $100,000 to write a plan for the whole Cedar, it's downstream from Cedar Rapids on to pretty much Wapello, the Cedar River. That's all these towns that are, it's Marion, Lisbon, every little town, even Wilton, Atalissa,
Mechanicsville.
Conesville, they're in Johnson County, they're a little portion of it. Even a little tiny portion of Johnson County is in this watershed to the Cedar River. The advantage to us is if we stick with it, there will be funding eventually for us to do some projects that we might want to do upstream of our creeks that flood. For instance, some waterway holding back water, basically. It probably won't help us a bit for our downstream project because it's too late. We don't want to wait that long. So that's why we paid $500 last year, and we'll probably get another bill for $500 soon. We didn't pay for 2020 yet. We paid late in 19 for 19. And then I think I asked you to put $1,000. They want us to step up a little bit, so I asked for 1,000. I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know where it showed up.
For what? They haven't done anything for us yet.
Because other counties and cities are going to be contributing. If
Well,
500,
good
we
for them.
got to give 500. Where's this list of cities here?
I think it's in the back. Yeah.
Most cities are giving 500. They're asking them to step up to 1,000 eventually.
Let's see, 100.
Because they're going to have to. Yeah, Nichols can't afford much, and
Walcott,
I don't know where.
Wilton.
Walcott can afford.
Walcott.
Yeah, well,
way more
They
than
got,
500.
they got the largest
anyway.
truck stop in the world.
We're on the hook for probably 500 and then maybe another
with that,
500
I mean,
next year.
The counties are only.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Who the heck is
Anybody else?
Blooming Hollow Developers?
Let's see, I did that.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Oh, last
Anybody
time,
else before we go into
yeah,
closed
last
session?
time, Leslie asked us about, sewer portion relief. I did kinda look it over. I kinda like the North Liberty policy. Iowa City policy seems to be kinda little more complicated. This kinda seemed to be simplified. Use more than 50, if your usage is more than 50% of your average, or the the industry's average, then we would be giving Leslie the go ahead to reimburse them if it's over 50% of what they normally use.
Would that be a
That's just
council
the-
call or a?
Well, I think
No,
if we
it's
set, I think if we set a policy, then
Wow.
if they come in, if it's simple, but they had, I mean, there's restrictions, they
Yeah.
had to have a plumber come in and fix the repair, show that the repair's been fixed by either a letter or a bill. You know, there's things that need to be done to make that possible, but she could make that, and if they wanted to, if they weren't satisfied with the results that she gave her, then they would come to the council and,
They had to do it in like, what, 30 days?
yeah, it's,
Yeah, don't have much time.
right, it was,
Which, for good reason.
request form returned to the city hall within 15 days after the leak investigation is performed by the customer's plumber, or 30 days after the date of a high bill, whichever occurred first.
Does a high bill include running water out of a hose?
No.
Right.
So if you're watering your yard, filling your swimming pool,
Or leave your hose on?
leave your hose on, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's for some kind of a,
Something's broken.
yeah,
Like
water
the-
line breaks or a toilet
Yeah, like the guy who came in,
stops
that
flushing.
toilet was running in his
Right.
apartment or whatever.
So it just gives the city, gives somebody a little bit of relief if they have this kind of a, but it has to be 50% more than their usage, so if they use 4,000 gallons in a month and their bill is 9,000 gallons, then that's more than 50% of their usage, so.
Okay.
But we'd only give them back,
50% of that? 50%
Yeah.
of the use, 50% of the
Of their
excess.
50% overage?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way it read.
Yeah, so if they normally use 4,000, and they use 9, they'll only get a discount of 3,000 or 2,000.
25.
and a half.
Gallons.
Yeah.
Which doesn't transfer to a lot of money, but
Yeah.
for some people it might.
$20. Well, if you rate
worth 20
almost eight
$7
bucks,
$8.
it's 25 bucks.
Usually the people that come in here, it's not a 4,000 to 9,000 gallon.
Right,
deal.
it's
a
not.
4,000 to
20,000.
50,000.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big,
Yeah. They just go yell at somebody because
Yeah,
they
it's
have
like
to pay $20 more.
going from $80 to like $350. It's like a big bill.
They're still gonna pay the water portion of it anyway
Right.
though, so.
Yes, it's only for the sewer portion.
Okay, so
So you'll need a draft, kind of pretty up the North Liberty one and bring it back?
I think so, yeah.
Is it every
I mean,
single time or
it-
one time or? do they
Well, it
plan
also
on
says,
that?
Yeah.
one claim per account per address can be submitted over the lifetime of the account.
There you go, I agree with that.
Yeah.
only
So
one
is that the
stupid
count,
days.
so is that the account for that resident at that time? Because the address could be the next, I mean, that place could sell and the next person that owns it would be the same
I think it'd
address.
have to be.
That's a different account though.
Yeah, so it'd
Might be different
That's
account.
what- that's what I'm thinking too.
only one stupid per account.
I think the only thing that
Or-
really needs to be
It's really bad at water.
addressed in this is, it says, you know, it has to be done by the assistant city administrator or the water supervisor, so.
Just make whoever that is.
Right, whoever we want to decide that's gonna be, they're gonna come to, which is gonna be you first. If you wanna direct them to Public Works and whoever's in charge of the water, we could do it that way too, but.
Okay. I won't have it ready for the March 2nd meeting, but I can maybe have it ready for like that first meeting in April.
Sure.
Is that gonna be an ordinance change too?
No, we'll do it as a policy. We'll
change.
write it as a policy and you can just adopt it to a
Okay.
resolution.
'Cause if we were gonna do it as an ordinance deal, then let's just group it together with the other one and do it all at once instead.
You gotta make sure it's not in the code.
No,
That discount or waiver wasn't in the code.
nope.
Okay, anybody else, anything? Tom Dean.
I got a couple things. When, like out here at the Meadows or Jerry's place, when lots are designated, we charge the owners of those lots a $250 hookup fee for water. Where does that money go?
It pays for $1 million lift station we bought
It just goes into the water fund.
8 years ago. That's what it's for, isn't it?
Yes, okay,
It just
but,
goes into the
So-
water fund, it's not.
so, but we don't charge the resident. So we're talking about the Meadows, we use it Meadows or even Cedar's Edge.
Right.
So that $250 is being charged to the developer in the subdividers agreement, so I'm not charging it again. When they're getting charged on the building permit, is for them to hook up to the water and sewer system. It's not for the lift station, because that's the lift station connection fee. That's what that $250 is.
It's not for the sewer?
The lift station is going towards sewer. The water, on the water and sewer connection fees that are billed on the building permit, 402 goes to water, 402 goes to sewer.
And are we gonna set up a resolution so that we have a separate, set-aside accounts for,
I have set up an account
okay,
so that we can
Transfer that
Okay.
money.
try to figure out, it's gonna be close, it's not necessarily gonna be exact, but
okay. And another concern of mine was, with this new water and sewer rates that we have been telling the public that this is to pay for the new sewer plant. Where's that money gonna go? Is that gonna go into a separate account or line item?
It will have a separate account, yeah,
Okay,
in the sewer fund.
Yeah, because the water rate didn't change, just the sewer rate.
okay.
And just as an FYI to you, so I sent the bills out February 1st because that's when the rate went into effect, and I've only gotten 4 phone calls so far. I was surprised. I kind of warned these guys that the phones might be going crazy, but I've only received 4 phone calls. And once I've explained it, most people knew about it. They'd seen it in the newspaper, seen it on social media, and then I have a copy of it at the front desk too. So it hasn't been as much of a sticker shock as I had expected.
One last bullet. Appreciation Park has no lights. Is that something the city would like to take on to put lights?
I thought the flag was lit.
No, no, they never did.
How would we do that?
Isn't that a private park? Isn't that a private park?
I don't know.
It's
It
not
is,
public.
huh?
It's not a public park.
Pickford's own it, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
No.
Do they or not? Who owns it?
Yeah, it's
The
not.
Legion, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the light poles are on.
They were running the power off,
The building next door.
Building
which I
next
used to
door.
own.
and he said no.
Bickford put the
It was his
appreciation
building
park
at the
in.
time.
He also owned the building beside it, which he was taking the electricity from there for his lights. When he sold the building, they didn't want to furnish the lights for the appreciation,
Have they been out that long?
apparently.
It's
There's-
dark.
There's available power back there that, and there's a city meter. It could be done. It could be done trenching over it could be done.
Is that because there's a light in the alleyway back there, or is that the light you're talking?
There's
is that
a
the power?
transformer back there, and that meter, socket meters the Heritage Square
Downtown
and some other stuff.
behind Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
All of it.
Tom, have you talked to the Legion about this?
I was gonna
You
say,
know, they don't have any money.
They don't.
So they would be okay if, I'm not saying the city would want it, but
Well,
they
as a
would be
member of
okay.
American Legion, I would be okay with it.
I don't
Full
think there'd
disclosure.
be any
Nice.
members of
Lifetime.
the Legion that would be upset if the city offered to add a light to Appreciation Park.
Well, you could talk to Wayne Reynolds about that.
I'll talk
Okay,
to
at
you.
worst, if the Lion Energy put in a light, it's $25 a month. That's what we pay for street lights.
Not
Yeah.
downtown. Downtown they're metered. They
Oh.
actually have a meter back there.
All right.
So it's whatever.
It should be a better light than a
I mean,
light.
it's whatever you have down there,
Yeah, it should be like
whatever
an
it
actual
costs is what it would
down on the ground.
add to the meter there.
How much it would be, huh? It might be-
So what do you think? I mean, we could think about it,
Let's
but
investigate it, see what
Yeah.
it's gonna cost.
The light would be
I'm
gone,
open
you
to
might
it.
I'm
be
open to
able
it, yeah.
Power it up
I am
with a
too.
battery and a.
okay.
So since we're talking about lights, we paid a bunch of money for a bridge to let God know.
The Lion has, it's on their schedule.
Tom, can you get on
I
that?
think the electricians are
You
done.
seem to be the lighting guy.
They're done, right?
Our electricians have been
Yeah.
down for a while, just now it's the Lion thing, just, they said we're on their schedule, and now it's just waiting for them to actually come and do it. All they have to do is actually hook up from the light above it to the pole below. The rest of it.
I'd say we draw a line and say we got a light out and have them come fix it.
Well,
Call Mark over here. I know where you
We
live.
actually have a meeting with them on the 24th,
Yeah, fourth,
I
yeah.
think, so.
Didn't Oasis Electric just do some work
Yeah,
there?
they're done.
Yeah,
Oasis
but you
did
can
our
hook
portion
up
of it,
to-
now that Lion has to do theirs.
Yeah. Oasis probably doesn't have
What's that
the
box on the
certificates and all
bridge?
that fun stuff to hook up
On
to
the
the
bridge,
power
that's
level.
the USGS.
It's
And that'll,
what?
the USGS,
That's a gauge.
the gauges,
Oh.
They're gonna fix that.
that'll all get moved to the west.
Aren't they gonna make it nice or something?
Okay,
Put in a nice enclosure and.
anything else? Then we will, adjourn to closed
You
session.
have to take a vote.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
I'd like to use the restroom.
So on the agenda next is a closed session, in accordance with State Code 21.5J, to discuss, to discuss the purchase or sale of a particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price of governmental body would pay for that property or reduce the price we would receive for the property. In order to hold a closed session, only affirmative public vote by 2/3 of the members of the body of all members present.
So moved.
Okay? Got a motion and a second.
Jerry, I think second.
Colton and Jerry, let's do a quick vote. This will be a roll call vote.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
All right, we're in closed session.